The day my mother remarried, I told myself everything would be fine. New beginnings, new family, it was supposed to be a fresh start. But the moment I stepped into that house, something felt off. It wasn't the mansion-like size of it, nor the cold, echoing hallways that made me uneasy. It was him, Jake, my new stepbrother. I first saw him standing at the base of the grand staircase, arms crossed, gaze unreadable. He was tall, lean, with sharp features that held no trace of a welcoming smile. Unlike my mother, who beamed with forced enthusiasm, Jake barely acknowledged me. I should have expected that. After all, neither of us chose this arrangement. Weeks passed, and though we lived under the same roof, we existed in different worlds. He rarely spoke at dinner, disappearing into his room afterward. If we crossed paths in the hallway, he'd nod, nothing more. I figured he didn't care for me, which was fine. I didn't need his approval. But there was something in his eyes, something restrained, as if he was holding back words he wasn't allowed to say. Then, one evening, everything changed. I was in my room, scrolling through my phone, when my door creaked open. I looked up, expecting my mother. Instead, it was Jake. He stood at the threshold, his face partially obscured by shadows. "What are you doing?" I asked, pushing myself up from my bed. He didn't answer. Instead, he stepped inside and shut the door behind him. A strange chill ran through me. Jake had never voluntarily entered my space before. "Jake!" My voice came out quieter than I intended. For a long moment, he just stared at me. Then, with a measured breath, he said, "There's something you need to know." The air between us tightened. My mind raced. What could he possibly want to tell me? "I overheard something," he continued, his voice low but urgent. "About your mom. About this whole marriage." I felt my stomach drop. "What are you talking about?" He hesitated. His jaw clenched as if he was at war with himself. Finally, he exhaled. "This marriage isn't what you think it is," he said. "There's more going on. And I don't think you're supposed to know." A sickening unease curled in my chest. "Jake, if this is some kind of joke." "It's not." His voice was sharp now, cutting through any doubt I had. Silence stretched between us. I wanted to demand answers, to force him to explain. But the way he looked at me, like he was debating whether telling me was a mistake, sent my mind spiraling. Then, without another word, he turned and left, closing the door behind him. I sat there, pulse hammering, staring at the spot where he'd stood. Whatever secret Jake had just hinted at, I wasn't sure I wanted to know. But deep down, I knew nothing would ever be the same again. Sleep eluded me that night. Jake's words replayed in my mind, each syllable thick with unspoken weight. "This marriage isn't what you think it is." The sentence gnawed at me, twisting into dark possibilities. Was my mother in trouble? Was Jake lying? Or worse, was he telling the truth? By morning, I couldn't stand the uncertainty. I found Jake in the kitchen, nursing a cup of black coffee, his gaze distant. The usual coldness in his expression was gone, replaced by something else. Hesitation, maybe even regret. "You can't just drop something like that and walk away," I said, forcing my voice to remain steady. He sighed, setting his cup down with deliberate slowness. "I didn't know if I should tell you, but you deserve to know." I crossed my arms. "Know what?" Jake looked away, as if choosing his words carefully. "I overheard my dad on the phone last night. He was talking about your mom, and how this marriage was a deal, not love." My breath hitched. "A deal?" His fingers curled into fists. "Your mom needed financial security. My dad needed something else." A cold wave of disbelief washed over me. "That doesn't make sense. My mom wouldn't." Jake cut me off with a sharp look. Think about it. Has she ever really seemed happy? The question struck deep. My mother had always been strong, composed, but was that strength or just well-crafted performance? I searched my memories for something, anything, that would disprove his claim, but doubt had already taken root. You don't know everything? I shot back, clinging to denial. No, Jake admitted. But I know there's more. My dad mentioned conditions. His voice dipped lower. And I think one of them involves you. The floor felt unsteady beneath me. Me? What are you talking about? He hesitated, then exhaled sharply. I don't know the details yet, but you're part of whatever they agreed to. A deep unease settled in my chest. My life, my choices, had they been bargained away without me even knowing? Why are you telling me this? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Jake's expression darkened. Because I don't like being lied to either. Silence stretched between us, thick with everything unspoken. The air hummed with the weight of something inevitable. Something I couldn't ignore anymore. Finally, Jake pushed back from the counter. You have a right to the truth. But if you dig too deep, you might not like what you find. Then he walked away, leaving me with a truth that felt more like a trap. I should have left it alone. I should have accepted my mother's choices, however flawed. But some betrayals demand to be uncovered. And I was about to uncover them all. I told myself I wouldn't go looking for answers, that I could pretend everything was fine, just like my mother had. But the seed of doubt had already taken root, growing into something restless and uncontrollable. And then there was Jake. After that conversation in the kitchen, something shifted between us. The usual distance, the careful indifference, it was gone. In its place was an unspoken understanding, a shared weight neither of us had asked for. I started noticing him more, the way his jaw tightened when our parents spoke in hushed voices, how his eyes flickered toward me when he thought I wasn't looking. It wasn't concern exactly, it was something else, something that made my pulse quicken in ways I didn't understand. One night, I found him outside, leaning against the railing of the balcony, the city lights stretching endlessly beyond him. You shouldn't be out here alone, he said without turning around. I stepped closer, the cool night air prickling against my skin. Neither should you, he smirked, but there was no humor in it. Guess we both have a habit of doing things we shouldn't. A beat of silence passed. Then I swallowed hard and asked, do you really think they're hiding something that involves me? Jake exhaled, running a hand through his hair. I don't think, Emily. I know. The way he said my name, it sent a shiver through me. I should have walked away then. Should have kept things simple, kept him at a safe distance. But instead, I found myself sitting beside him, our arms almost brushing. They're lying to us, I murmured. Yeah. His voice was quieter now. And you're not going to stop until you figure out why. I turned to him. Would you? His gaze met mine, and for a long moment, neither of us spoke. There was something dangerous in the way he looked at me. Not a warning, not exactly. More like a silent acknowledgement of a line we were dangerously close to crossing. No, he admitted. I wouldn't. The space between us felt smaller, the air heavier. I wasn't sure what was happening, only that it was happening. I told myself it was just the circumstances, the secrecy, the tension, the betrayal unraveling around us. That was why I felt drawn to him. That was why, when he finally looked away and muttered, "This is going to get messy, isn't it?" I didn't know if he was talking about our parents' lies or something far more complicated, because in that moment, I realized the truth. I wasn't just afraid of what I would find. I was afraid of how much I wanted to find it with him. I thought I was prepared for the truth. I wasn't. The confrontation came sooner than I expected. My mother was in her study when I found her, her perfectly curated world arranged around her. Gleaming bookshelves, a mahogany desk, an untouched cup of tea. She looked up when I entered, surprise flickering in her eyes before she masked it with practiced calm. "Emily," she said smoothly, setting aside a document. "What's wrong?" I didn't bother with pleasantries. "Why did you marry him?" For a moment, she said nothing. Then, with a sigh, she leaned back in her chair, her fingers laced together. "You've been talking to Jake." It wasn't a question. I swallowed hard. I deserved to know. She studied me carefully, then nodded just once. "You're right. You do." The words should have reassured me. Instead, they felt like a prelude to something irreversible. "I married him because I had no choice," she admitted. "Not if I wanted to secure a future for both of us." The world tilted. "You mean money." "I mean protection." Her voice sharpened. "Your stepfather isn't just a businessman, Emily. He has power. Power that can make or break people." My stomach twisted. "So you traded yourself for security?" She hesitated. "Not just myself." The room suddenly felt too small. "What do you mean?" She exhaled, as if shedding the last of her pretense. "Part of the agreement was that you would." A knock at the door interrupted her. I turned as Jake walked in, his expression unreadable. But there was something else there, something that made my pulse stutter. He already knew. My mother stood, her gaze shifting between us. "Jake, don't." But he ignored her. His eyes locked on mine, and then he said the words that shattered everything. "You were part of the deal, Emily. You were promised to me." Couldn't breathe. "What?" Jake's jaw tightened. "They planned this from the beginning. The marriage. The merging of families. You and me." The betrayal hit like a tidal wave. My mother, Jake, his father, they had all known. My entire life had been a contract I never signed. "You knew?" I whispered, my voice breaking. Jake flinched. "Not at first." I took a step back. Then another. "But you know now." Silence. And that was my answer. I turned and walked out, my mother calling my name, Jake standing motionless. But I didn't stop. Not until I was outside, the cold air burning my lungs. Some betrayals crush you. Others remake you. I wasn't sure which one this was. But I would never be the same again.